Welcome to my very first podcast. Today I'm speaking to John, and we're going to discuss how he decided to launch a new business during a lockdown. John, I know you from running. I would love to do a long discussion with you about running and ultra running and exactly your background. But just professional wise, you say you're working from home. What has your journey been over the past 12 months since you and I became friends, work wise?
Yeah, my journey's been an interesting one. 12 months ago, I was in a difficult position personally. We had a few personal things going on. Um, yeah, work-wise, I was in a completely different space. I was actually consulting to a supply chain business, and I was not stimulated. I was in a very dead space mentally, and I had stopped dreaming. Just a bit of context. Before this, I had come out of running my own business, and we had a client that liquidated and nearly took the business down. So out of necessity, I had to leave the business. My wife carried on running it, and to take the pressure off, I went and contracted myself out. And the problem with that is, well, there's two things. Well, number one, the money was very good, but money's not everything, because what happens is you fall into a rhythm. If you don't enjoy something you do, you die inside. I was with for 2.5 years on various contracts, and they went through a bit of a rough patch where they lost a couple of contracts, and the first people to go were the contractors. Now, this happened in December. I was told in December, and in February, it was going to come to an end. So naturally, what people tend to do is they tend to panic. They tend to sort of feel rejected. They go through a series of emotions. They feel not good enough, not worthy enough. Why me? They get angry. And I've always been very aware of these emotions and how these emotions can actually change the way that you see the world and your outlook. And if you get stuck too long in these spaces, uh, it can be very damaging. So I had a chat to my wife and I said, okay, well, there's a couple of options here. I can look for a job. I can rejoin your business and we can just sell like hell, or I can do a combination of all three. Or the third option was I could start my own thing, or we can do a combination of all three. And then I elected to do the latter. So I looked for work. I didn't find anything. To be honest, I also didn't really push too hard. And just as the company started to improve, the Corona outbreak happened. But we've also been in the process of setting up a business.
Okay, so the corona hit you at a very, very tough time. You were busy setting up a business, getting ready to launch, and the next thing, the entire country goes into lockdown.
Absolutely. I think there's no worse time to try and launch a business. I think we've all read the news. We've all seen the articles. Yesterday, there was the CEO of Edcon, Grant Patterson, was in tears with his suppliers because he can't pay them. It's very tough for everybody. If I look at our marketing agency or advertising agency, we're a small business. We employ 7 people directly, and I would say another 10 people rely on us through freelancers and contractors. So we've got the potential to affect nearly 20 lives here, not to mention the extended families that each person supports. And if you ask any sort of business person or anybody who's been involved in setting up businesses, the climate is very crucial. And I'm sure most people would think it's insane to try and launch a business in the middle of a lockdown, which is what we've decided to do.
Okay, so tell me more about that. You came out of February in rough shape. You decided to start your own business. Corona hit, and you decided you're going to roll on with this. Tell me about the business.
Yeah, so how this actually came about was I was trying to grow the advertising agency, and you try every channel possible. And I actually joined up to one of these. It's like there's a couple of these sites, Versify, Bark, Snippet. One of them, I was getting about 20 leads or 20 inquiries a day for people to build websites. The problem is the prices that they were willing to pay. You would take the brief and you would probably lose money. But it worried me, so I'd go out and it would really trouble me. So I thought about this for probably 2 months, and we decided to I decided to have a look and see what automated website builders there were. And initially it was to see if we could use something off the shelf in the agency to try and capitalize on this bottom end of the market. And it's almost like imagine an oil deposit. It's deep under the ocean and there's lots of it, but it's just too costly to get to. And nobody's doing it because it's just too expensive. It doesn't make the oil any less attractive. It is good quality oil, and these are people that have a need that needs to be met. So I looked at a couple of off-the-shelf products and played with one or two, and we weren't really happy with what we saw. The limitations were quite. You'd get a very basic website for an entry-level price. So we decided to flip it on its head, and we decided to launch an automated website builder that the output would be WordPress. About 35% of all websites out there are WordPress based. And we flipped it on its head where we said, listen, we're going to make all the premium plugins and features available to all packages, irrespective of how much they pay. The only differentiator between the packages would be the available space that we make on the server.
Okay, so you're offering a premium product at a affordable price, and as your content grows and as your need for more space grows, then your budget probably would grow, and then you cater for that as well.
Yes, absolutely. So it goes a little bit deeper. Then when I had a chat to a developer, and initially I was going to approach him and pay him to build this. And then he actually sparked something in me, and he said to me, listen, what we can actually do is we can actually start empowering communities, and we can start setting up people that don't have work, that are skilled, that don't have opportunities, and we can connect them to the people who need these sites built. We don't have to go and sell to the end user. We are the platform or the conduit. And, the more we unpacked this together, the more I realized I wanted this guy on board. So I've now got two partners. The third person is a lady that I've known, also a runner, for a couple of years, and she's a very talented individual who is very well connected to a lot of the communities that we're hoping to reach. And this business is just more. It's more than just selling service based or selling websites. It's actually about changing lives and empowering people. And what better time to do that than now, when people need hope, when people's work is under pressure, or businesses are under pressure, or incomes are under threat. There's a couple of people I've spoken to in my close circle that they've got businesses which are closed, and they won't be earning anything for as long as we're in lockdown. But if they have the ability to acquire a skill and potentially sell a solution to somebody who needs it, then we're enabling growth. And the nice thing about it is we've made it inclusive for everybody. So you don't need to be a developer to be able to use the product. It's literally a drag and drop interface, hosted locally, so it's super fast. The whole server is secure at the moment. So all the website, you purchase the website through us, you get an SSL certificate and all the security measures that come with it. So it's a good product, and I think it's come through at the right time. So an SSL certificate is basically, think of it like a capsule that surrounds your website. Mark Shuttleworth built his business on the back of that. So that little lock that you see in your browser's URL tells you whether a site is secure or not. So it's an encrypted certificate that basically allows for better security around websites. And it's very crucial when it comes down to e-commerce sites and when you're facilitating payments. But also the second part of that is Google 2 or 3 years ago started to put more emphasis on sites that had an SSL certificate. So you would rank better if you had this feature. And what we've done is we've just made it globally available to any site that gets built on our platform.
Okay, so you give an actual e-commerce site possibility to somebody to actually build an actual business running from out of your business.
Yes, absolutely. So technically, you could build an e-commerce site of our starter package, which is 75 Rand a month, which is absolutely unheard of. If you get a quote for an e-commerce site, but you're certainly not looking at that price range. And
yes,
the thing is, all of this tech is available. It's about who knows how to use it. And right now we're in times where people need to be versatile and need to go online and need to make a living. Businesses need to be able to take their business online. And why should we make it exorbitant to do so? Why shouldn't we lower the barriers to entry? Why shouldn't we help South Africa, or Africa for that matter? So we're very proud of the product because it's been built by South Africans. Like I mentioned, it's hosted locally. And the aim is simply more than just making profit. It's about giving back as well.
We'll have, like I said earlier, we'll have a long discussion about your running career and just the positive person I've come to know you as. How did you come around to this point in hosting websites? Is it just the way your mind works, or is it because you've been in the industry for a while?
Quite by accident. I'm actually an engineer, and I've always been quite handy with the computer. I know how to code, but sort of on C+ and Visual Basic. So from the late 90s, I've been interested in that. I don't know how to build websites. To this day, I don't. But we arrived at this point quite by accident. In our marketing agency, we build websites. We've got people that do this for us. And I know what it takes to set up a WordPress website. And I know what it takes, and I know what it costs you to take down a brief, and I know what it takes to design something and test it and make sure that it's all running properly. And engineers are really just problem solvers. So if you're able to see the problem and solve for it, I don't think you need to know how to do this through our platform. Is that we've taken a lot of the setup and the admin out. All the repetitive stuff that comes with setting up a new WordPress build is taken out. The build is there. The plugins are available. The SSL certificates are active. WooCommerce is enabled. All of that stuff that takes time has been eliminated. And then what we've done is we've said, okay, it's actually just about layouts. So we've made a couple of layout packs, over 1,000 layout packs available. So people can literally get online in 2 hours if they use a layout pack, or they could build from scratch. Even I, who's got no website skills, can now build a website.
Okay, that's fantastic. That is really encouraging because I know we've got a lot of time. We've got, at this stage, 21 days. But one doesn't want to spend this entire time building a website. One would actually like to get up and running and stay excited about it and not see this as just a project for the foreseeable future.
No, absolutely. So we don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown for. We know it's 21 days. It might very well be longer. But also, if you look at your mindset, if you're looking for true innovation, what you've got to do is you've got to tell yourself that you've got to change your mindset. And the way that the discussions we've had with some of our clients and our staff is assume this is a longer term problem. Once you've made peace with that, the big innovation will then come, because you will be forced to think about how you unlock new ways of working to get your business and your family to survive through this. In terms of delivery, businesses need to go online and they need to be quick about it. They need to be agile. They need to go, and there are restrictions around what can be delivered online. But for example, we've got some of the retailers that are clients of ours that are still facilitating online orders. They're just holding back on the delivery. Once the lockdown passes or the restrictions relax, they'll be then able to facilitate it. But if you're not online and you don't have that ability to sell, then you've got no options.
Okay, that's very valid, because right now you might have a business which is a very, very profitable business, but you've got a very high wall between yourself and your customers, and you say you now offer a portal where people can breach that gap.
Yes, and you can do it quite quickly.
That's important.
And you can do it yourself if you want to, or you can get somebody who's a little bit more creative to do it for you without paying an arm and a leg. Because again, it's money at the moment is on top of everybody's minds, given where we are with business.
Very, very true. I'm looking forward to talking to you about your interpretation of life and running, and especially the lockdown in terms of ultra-distance running and ultra-distance trail running, which is even more difficult. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to you again when you've got time.
Thank you.
And good luck for the lockdown over there. You're locked down with a wife, 2 kids, and a dog.
Yeah, I have 2 kids and a dog, and we don't have the biggest space to be in, but we are very fortunate because this is South Africa. We've got sunshine, we've got a little space outside, but we are blessed when it comes to the rest of the world. When you consider everybody else has got balconies and gloomy weather, our situation isn't quite so bad. We can still have a braai. We can still sit in the garden. I'm actually working outside at the moment, so It's really what you make of it.
That's very, very true. I'm set up here outside. I'm not sure allowed to say that I'm having a gin.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've got my entire podcast studio set up here on the stoop and enjoying the sunshine. So yes, a lot to be thankful for, and we're going to have to hang on to our sanity for the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. And I think we will come out of this different. We'll come out of this hopefully better. You know, I think what's showing itself now is people's true colors. There are those that are, you know, exploiting others and being selfish, and then there are also those that are being kind. And I think it's like a big reset button. I think it's going to be a big wake up for all of us when we do come out of this, to show us what's truly important at the end of the day.
That's very valid. I saw a post when this corona thing, even before we went into lockdown, just when it started to point towards that there will be restrictions and trying to work from remotely, etc. I think it was about a week ago today when a post came out and said, pay attention to how your company is treating you under these conditions, because it speaks a lot about their core values.
Very true. Very, very
so
true.
Let these days show the core values of ourselves, and we can still change.
Absolutely. And if you think about all the tough times we've had in history, all the big innovations, all the big shifts have come out of tough times. If you think about Japan after World War II, the atomic bomb was dropped on 2 of their big industrial cities. If you thought about it, that 30 or 40 years later, they would be an economic powerhouse and the world leader in electronics in the 80s, you wouldn't believe it. But it was in their attitude and their work ethic that they brought that country out of the ashes. And I believe through hard times, that's where we learn our biggest lessons. And it's make or break.
Very, very valid. So pay attention to your mindset, how you internalize this, because it's going to become part of you in the future.
Absolutely. This is an opportunity for all of us to sit and reflect and look around us and see, you know, how we behave and how our mindsets are and what we can do for others. It's not just about ourselves.
That's very valid, because we're going to have to share our living spaces and our lives with people closer than we used to.
Absolutely.
John, it's an absolute pleasure speaking to you every time. I'm looking forward to going for a run with you again as soon as all of this is done. We'll speak a lot before then. And I'm going to be one of the people that signs up for your website.
Absolutely. So what we've done is we've got a 21-day free use period. I don't want to call it a trial, because a trial implies that you're trying something and you're not really going to succeed. But it is 21 days on us, essentially. It happens to coincide nicely with the period of the lockdown that we've got. So there's absolutely no risk. You can build without putting any credit card or payment details in. You're free to build, you're free to experiment, you're free to play. You can delete it as many times as you want, and there's absolutely no risk. We've bought quite a bit of capacity, and we've got the skills in the business to upscale this very quickly. So the servers are not the least of my problems. My primary concern, and our primary concern, is around the support that we offer. So we've got training forums, there's videos out there, is a lot of material. We've been hosting webinars with our early access users, our beta testers, to make sure that we've ironed out all the bugs. Server space is not my concern.
Okay, that's very, very good news. I will have a look at that. I would like to generate a bit of a space where people can meet up during these times where we can't see each other. I'll give you my honest opinion, and hopefully it will be a business for me to carry on with as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. We appreciate that.